Thursday, March 16, when no one can buy or sell. The Bible paints a painful picture of the world before the second coming of Jesus. Daniel writes about a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation even to that time in Daniel 12 verse 1. Considering some of the troublous times in the past, what he is referring to here must be pretty bad. The book of Revelation also points to troubling times before the return of Christ. Read Revelation 13, verses 11 to 17. How do financial matters fit in with the end-time persecution? Revelation 13, beginning at verse 11. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You can't buy or sell? How much of our lives today revolves around buying and selling? Our work is, in a sense, our selling of our time and skills and goods to those who want to buy them. Not being able to buy or sell all but means not being able to function in society. The pressure on those who remain faithful will then be enormous. Plus, the more money that you have, the more stake you will have in this world, at least in terms of material possessions, and so, surely, the pressure to conform will be even stronger. How then do we prepare? We prepare now by making sure, through God's grace, that we are not slaves to our money, to the things of the world. If we are not bound to them now, we won't be when we will, in order to be faithful, have to give them up. Read Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22, and the last part of verse 23. What were God's people to do with their increase or production each year? Why did God ask them to do this? Deuteronomy 14, beginning at verse 22. You shall truly tithe all the increase of your grain that the field produces year by year, and you shall eat before the Lord your God in the place where he chooses to make his name abide, the tithe of your grain and your new wine and your oil of the firstborn of your herds and your flocks, that you may learn to fear the Lord your God always. God explained through Moses that one of the reasons he established the tithing system was, in Deuteronomy 14:23, that you may learn to fear the Lord your God always. In the poetic parallelism of Psalm 31:19, we see that fear is synonymous with trust. Oh, how great is your goodness, which you have laid up for those who fear you, which you have prepared for those who trust in you. These parallel lines show us that to fear the Lord is to trust him. Therefore, we understand that God established the tithing system to protect us from selfishness and to encourage us to trust him to provide for us. While being faithful in tithe is certainly not a guarantee that people will stay faithful in the end, those who are not faithful in tithe are surely setting themselves up for trouble. This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful. And here is a disclaimer. Contents of these lessons are not intended to be financial advice, but is general commentary based on biblical principles. The reader is encouraged to seek competent professional advice which will suit their particular personal situation.